All right, Disney, you have proven that series set in the MCU will work on Disney+. Let's start getting interesting. Hey folks, so today I'm going to pitch my ideas for 5 MCU series that should be on Disney+. I need these. I'm going to say we all need them, but I know I need them. Now, this was actually harder for me to put together than I would have initially thought because the big one that I wanted more than anything else, they're already doing. You go way, way back to this channel to, I think it was my very first conversation that I had with Paul and Ryan, and we talked about what future projects we'd like to see from Marvel. I said I wanted She-Hulk, and I said I wanted her being a lawyer. Can I be as prescient now? We'll see. So here's my pitch for 5 ideas of shows that I think could be really good on Disney+. So these are in more or less likelihood order. So starting with number 5, Howard the Duck. First of all, it'd be nice just to get the taste of that movie out of my mouth. Now, obviously, Howard as a character has already been introduced into the MCU. We've seen him now 3 times, if I've got my count right, both Guardians of the Galaxy films that are out, as well as Endgame in a blinking you'll miss it appearance when everybody shows up towards the end. So he's been established and we know he's there. Some might argue, well, just do a movie. The thing is, though, given the reputation of the Howard the Duck movie, and given that his appearances have been very jokey, I think it's pretty unlikely that Disney's going to shove the money behind it to do a full-scale film for this guy. However, I think he's better suited to an episodic series anyways. Howard the Duck, by design, was always meant to be satirical, to make fun of things in pop culture, or sometimes even political things. He's a talking duck, for crying out loud. You can't get too super serious, so he's much, much better for poking fun at things and just having a laugh, which, honestly, Marvel could use to have a laugh at themselves. Also, I'll note, Howard has had a tendency to be dimension jumping at times throughout his history. So if they wanted to have him jump into an all-duck dimension, an animated dimension, into one of the alternate timelines that Doctor Strange saw, or any number of possibilities, well, you could do it. And we wouldn't be hinging too much canon continuity weight on it because it's a freaking talking duck. Just go nuts. Next up, number 4. Now, as I was planning this video and coming up with these ideas, this one almost got torpedoed by something that actually looks like it's going to be happening. So let me say what I want to do, say what's been announced, and then sort of explain why I'm still going to pitch this anyway. What I want to do is I want a series about Ao and the Dora Milaje. Now, since I initially came up with this idea, it has been announced that there is going to be some sort of Wakanda series on Disney+, and that the character of Okoye, who is the absolute head of the Dora Milaje, will be appearing. Does that mean that they're basically already doing my idea? Not necessarily, because the indications are with the show, as with the very little that we currently understand, which isn't much. But from what can currently be discerned, it is a story about Wakanda. I'm not actually looking to pitch something that is about Wakanda. Not that that's a bad idea. It's a great idea. I'm down for it. But I'm more picking up on the idea from having seen Ao and the Dora Milaje show up in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Because there, they are moving about. They are engaging in missions away from Wakanda.
The Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje find themselves to be.
I kind of want to see Wakandan Black Ops. I want to see what kind of situations the Dora Milaje get sent out into the world to deal with because it in some way affects Wakanda. I want to see the situations they find themselves in. I want to see how they take things out. I want to see them take on a foe that is a good, proper match for them because they have a tendency to dominate a lot of fights. That's not a criticism. I actually kind of love that fact. But I really would love to see the build of like just seeing them work efficiently as a team and then over time see them start to come up against a threat that is really going to test them and push them to their limits and give them a real proper challenge. What could that threat be? I honestly don't know. I don't know Black Panther lore and backstory well enough to really float a suggestion on that, but I'm sure there's plenty of stuff to go with. I mean, on a wilder potential pitch, you could have Wakanda starting to get interference from Latveria, and they go in there to try and figure out what's going on and end up running into Dr. Victor Von Doom, and you could introduce him that way. They definitely won't do that. But I mean, like I'm saying, there's room. You can figure it out. Okay, for this next one, I don't even really have a solid premise, but like I know who the characters I want are. And that is Jimmy, Darcy, and Monica. That trio of characters from WandaVision, because when they were together in the same scene, I loved them so much. They bounced off each other wonderfully. They had great on-screen chemistry as a trio of characters, and I just want more.
And which one of you is the sassy best friend?
There's no time for you to diminish your colleagues.
Now, we already know they're going to be doing more stuff with Monica. She is going to be showing up in Captain Marvel 2. And I suspect they'll probably find other stuff to do with her besides. But the thing is, the three of them together, wonderful chemistry. I loved seeing them bounce off each other as they pitch things, throw things out there, have each other's back, give some pushback, challenge each other. They just had a really good dynamic, those three. And I want to see them do more stuff. As the easy go-to pitch, have Monica getting sent out for stuff related to Sword, because obviously the guy who was running the thing, he's gone. He got arrested. But have her request, I want to work with Jimmy. I want to work with Darcy. That's the team she requests. That's the team we see her go out and be with. Going out on things that are relevant to the mandate of Sword, which they need to clarify a little bit because it's different from what it was in the comics. In the series, it got labeled as the Sentient Weapon Observation and Response Division, so that gives us some ideas of what they could be going out doing, but I just want to see these three work together. I want to see Darcy going in, like, being the tech person, being the one, with the more brainy end of things. I want to see Jimmy using his ground level street experience as an FBI officer to have that other aspect to how they approach things. And I want to see Monica go in and mop up whatever they have to deal with and really get a grounding in her newfound powers. Now, if this were to ever happen, it would be after, however, she is going to be used in Captain Marvel 2, and obviously that might shake up or make impossible this concept depending on what things do or don't happen there. But more of these three. Please. Okay, for this next one, we're going to step outside of characters that have in fact already been introduced into the MCU, and I'm going to talk about one who I just want to see and experience and be with in film very, very much. I mean, film, TV in this case. Squirrel Girl. Now, if you have watched the Marvel Rising animated series, films, things, we have had a Squirrel Girl appear, and she was pretty good. I did like her. But I want to see Squirrel Girl done properly in live action, and we almost had it. There was going to be a New Warriors TV show, and she was going to be included as part of that. It got canceled. I don't think they even got as far as a pilot. But Squirrel Girl needs to be on television. Now, if you've never read The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, kicks butts, eats nuts, she just absolutely loves being a superhero. And yes, her superpowers are basically agility of a squirrel, can talk to squirrels, has really sharp teeth, and that's about it. Plus the tail. The tail isn't really a superpower necessarily, but it's really cool. And she's just bubbly and fun and loves what she does. And more often than not, when she defeats somebody, she doesn't defeat them by kicking their butt. She defeats them by, honestly, sometimes just confusing them. Sometimes coming to understand what it is they're doing and talking them out of it. She has a long history of making friends with the people that she goes into fights with. She's just so much wonderful, bubbly, adorable fun. She is the light, the brightness, the shining star that I need more of in my life. I need more of in my entertainment. Please, please, let me have Squirrel Girl. And finally, number 1. This one, no chance is going to happen. Partly because the idea is kind of nuts, but more because the people that it would involve, they would never agree to do it. Not as a regularly scheduled thing. But think about it for a minute. A series about the Asgardian actors. If you're not sure what I'm referring to, think back to Thor Ragnarok, where Loki is pretending to be Odin and is watching a performance, supposedly of previous events. That is what I'm talking about. I want a show following them as they travel not just Asgard, but other realms, performing for everything from local street corners to royalty and in palaces, and just being not necessarily caught up in, but present for craziness. Think, if I'm going to get a little highfalutin about it, think about a series that follows the players from Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, except they're Asgardians. Now, why won't this happen? Aside from the fact that I don't think this would, just as a concept, would ever get greenlit. Like, 2 of the people who appeared in that were Matt Damon and Sam Neill. And apparently these characters are going to come back in Thor, Love and Thunder with the addition of Melissa McCarthy, who's going to be playing the actress who's portraying Hela in some kind of recreation. So, like, they're not going to get these actors in for a series. But as a performer, as an actor, as someone with those kinds of ambitions and with a history in it, I mean, not professionally, but I tried. It didn't work out. But to see that explored and just watch them travel and just try and earn their keep, entertain an audience, and just be around for insanity. Like, especially if you get them set up in royal settings and there's all this intrigue going on. And they're like, we're just trying to put a show on. Can we just get paid and go on stage and get out of here? I would have a lot of fun with that. I might be the only one on the planet who would have a lot of fun with that, but I would have a lot of fun with it. And if they ever do it, I want credit. Or, you could just give me a part in it. I'd take that too. So those are my ideas for 5 MCU series that I would like to see and I think the world needs. But what'd you think of these pitches? Do you have any pitches you want to throw out there? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. I have a Patreon. That is how I pay my bills. There are rewards for every single tier of support. These include things like early access to videos and, of course, names in the credits, which you'll be seeing very, very shortly, if not already. And in addition to that, there's YouTube memberships, which gives you unique emojis to use during live chats and streams. If you're not able to do that, the likes, shares, subscribe, those help me out. They help combat the algorithm and keep it from burying me, hopefully. But even if you're not up for doing that, it's okay. I'm not going to tell you what to do. End of the day, you're the council. I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned.